Yeah, what up, what up, what up, what up? Yeah, I had to restart my camera. Y'all probably see me with my hairy ass chest and everything like that. So I apologize for that right there, man. All right, there we go. There we go. What's good? What's good? My one viewer. What's the deal, man? What's the deal? Sorry about that. I had to switch the buffer on my audio interface. It didn't like 1024 buffer size and whatnot. So it's all good, man. We in here, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my one follower out there. I don't know who you is, but feel free to put in the chat, man, and we'll chop it up or whatnot. We'll chop it up or whatnot, man. We're gonna start and get into sampling, man. I'm not gonna talk too much. We're gonna get straight into it, man. We got a lot to cover in this one right here. We're gonna be talking to sampling, using the simpler device in Ableton Live. It's a common device that you use all the time, and you probably don't know you're using it because it's not made aware. It's not like flashing lights saying, "Hey, this is what I'm using" or whatnot, man. But it's definitely a good device to use on that right now, man. So let's talk about sampling. You know what I'm saying? Sampling is just basically a form of taking any type of audio and, you know what I'm saying, kind of flipping and reversing it or however you want to do it or whatnot, man. And that's what we're going to do today. But we're going to use Simpler, just the device in Ableton Live or whatnot. And like I said, you know, you use it if you use drum racks in Ableton Live, you use it like on every cell that Ableton Live has in their, you know what I'm saying, their drum grid or whatnot. Or you could use Simpler device by itself. Or you could take an audio wave clip, transform or convert that into a simpler device after you have chopped up all the warped all the slice marks and stuff like that. Get your wave file to time just right, and then you can convert that into a sampler and then chop it up from there. So the simpler is it's a multi useful type of tool. You know what I'm saying? It has many different features for many different reasons. And we're going to try to touch on all those points tonight, man. I don't think we're going to have time to get into the Serato sample, so we'll say that on Sunday night. But we'll definitely talk about Serato. We'll talk about Simpler tonight. All right, let's get into it, man. Enough of that yip, man. All right, cool deal. We're going to start with just basically talking about Simpler. You'll see in the bottom left corner right here, you see this big rectangle thing. That is the device, Simpler, right there, man. Simpler back in like the Ableton 7, I came on to Ableton when it was the 8 version. And it only had one mode, and they still had that one mode for us classic, okay? And then I think when Ableton 9 moved around, then there was another mode where they had it one-shot mode and stuff like that. And then when 10 came around, they implemented this slice mode. And all three of these modes work in however you want them to work, and they all have their unique feature to it or whatever the case may be. I can tell you right now, if you're old school slicing and truncating and, you know, getting the start and the end loop time and everything like that, classic will be for you. If you're just a one shot type of person, one shot will be for you. And that's kind of like the one shot is my favorite feature on the Simpler whatnot, because you can you can basically trigger or you can gate. So basically when you trigger it, when you hit it, whatever wave file or audio file you have in the Simpler, it'll play it all the way to its entirety. If you put it on the gate function right here, you'll see right here where my mouse is, you have a trigger in the gate function. You'll see that right there. You could choose between that, and you probably got another screen so you could see my hands on the push and everything like that. So let me go to the device right here, and this knob, the knob that's on the 8 knob right here, you probably can't see my hands, but you could choose from one mode to one shot to slicing or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You can see that, you know, as I turn on the push 2, you'll see right here. But you got the trigger function as well, man. So there's a button right here, right there on the second button, the second from the left. You could choose trigger or gate. You know what I'm saying? So gate is basically you got to hold down the pad that you're affecting in order for it to play the whole entire audio file. Okay. Other things to note on the Simpler. Oh, excuse me. Let me go to slice mode. one of my favorite modes in here or whatnot. Now, slice mode is fairly new or whatnot. You have to have the audio in there to really see what it is, but you got different types of slices you can do. You can slice it by transient, beats, bars, and let me see, transients, beats. It won't let me do it because I don't have audio in there or whatnot. But you can basically transients, beats, and bars, or you can manually slice it. Okay. And you can adjust the sensitivity for as if it's gonna detect by transient, beats, and bars. You can adjust the sensitivity for as what it automatically detects on the slices as well, man. So we'll cover a little bit of both on all of those bases right there. Let me go ahead and locate my phone before someone calls me, be like, hey, woo, woo, woo. Whatnot, man. Hold on one second. I don't know where it's at, man. We're gonna keep it rolling, man. But anyway, so that's basically it right there, man. We're gonna go and just go ahead and load up a drum rack, man. Let's get up in here. So that's just basically the rough down on it on the simpler or whatnot. We're gonna go ahead and load up a drum rack. Now let me come back to the simpler. Now, yeah, at the bottom you have a filter section. Of course, you can you only have one filter type. One filter section. So it's basically one dimensional. So if you want to do a low pass, high pass, band pass, or whatnot, you definitely could do that. But you have to kind of like be conscious of, you know, saying what kind of filtering types you're gonna be doing or whatnot. Definitely helps out or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, I normally use high or low pass filters when it comes to samples as well, man. The next thing to be conscious about is LFO. If you like to have the woo, left to right, left to right, left to right, sync with the I guess with the tempo of the song, you can use LFO. That's a section. You can turn it off to save CPU resources. It's really not a big deal. I normally keep it on or whatnot unless you really trying to affect it or whatever the case may be. And there's a unique function called a fade in. So whatever you have sliced and you hit that button, when you hit that button, it's almost like a attack time. But they call it a fade in and a fade out or whatnot. And you have a transposition knob, a volume to velocity, and also an overall volume knob as well, just to kind of like adjust the volume. By default, it's set on -12 dB, but I normally don't mess with the volume knob. I normally mess with the gain knob on the audio clip. That way I have full control of the volume coming in. I just keep the default volume on the simpler at -12. I normally don't mess with it unless I gotta crank out more gain on an audio sample because it's real puny on the gain or whatnot. And then you also have these warp markers, and you can kind of like slow down and speed up the sample or whatnot. But there's a lot of different ways you can utilize the simpler as well. You got all these different controls for as, you know, they kind of coincide with these bottom features right here, like the filtering, for example. You can actually see the controls that what you're doing. You can see the LFO, what you're affecting and everything like that. And also the pitch. You can adjust the fade, or you can come in here and adjust the ADSR, your attack, your decay, sustain, and release right here. All right. So that's where the pitch envelope lives at, right above the fade in, fade out, transposition, volume to velocity, and volume right here as well. And you can adjust this either by using these little click points that Ableton Live has, or you can adjust the attack time right here as well. Of course, you can do stereo spread here. You can do some panning, detuning, transposition, all right here in one screen. You even have a glide function if you're into gliding and everything, and you can adjust the time on that as well. So this may look little device, but this motherfucker is powerful. Okay, all right, cool deal, man. So I just want to give you a little overview of whatnot. And if you ever get lost in Ableton Live, feel free always to go to view and turn on your info. Check the, y'all probably can't see it, but if you go to view at the top left corner, if you hit view, check off info, and you'll have a little info box at the bottom left of your window in Ableton Live. And anytime you hover over any parameter, I don't give a damn what it is, Ableton Live is going to teach you right there. It's almost like having a manual in a little box right there at the bottom left corner, right next to this particular device. And you'll see it as I hover my mouse over. You'll see the text move or whatnot. That's the info box, and whatnot. So it's like having a manual right there, man. All right, cool deal, man. So that's that. Simple. It's very simple. Simpler in overview. Okay, I advise you to read the manual, or just get in there, turn that info box on, and you can learn this for yourself. Okay. Now we're gonna get into the operation of Simpler. Okay. Now we got a drum rack. Now this is probably the most common use of the Simpler, and a lot of people don't even know. Did you know, like, when you load up and drag and drop a audio file on this grid? Now this is your drum rack grid pad, 16 pad situation, however the case may be, and you have, like, I think 128 of these little bad boys right here. Anytime you drag an audio file or a plugin on here, not a plugin, excuse me, let me take that back. Anytime you drag a audio file on the pads or whatnot, it's gonna create a Simpler by default. Okay, let's get into that. Let's check that out. Let's check that out, man. So we're gonna take the easy route. We're gonna look for some we're gonna look for some drum racks that's already done up. All right, cool deal, man. We're gonna put up this pack that I had called from Mad Zach. All right, we're just gonna pull up a pack right here. Actually, I have another one as well. I think it's from Sound Oracle. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. Or Monstrosity. It's one of those right there. If not, we'll go to Mad Zach. Yeah. I had to find it. I just, oh, there it is right here, people. Yes. Yeah. We'll do that right there. Let's go ahead and drag that in there. Let's see. I'm gonna try to drag that in there if it allows me to. Double click on it to see what happens. All right, cool. We got it there. All right, bet. Now this is the perfect example for you guys right here. All right, now you can see that it's, you know, stretched out and everything because the layout is basically showing the chain for as the MIDI notes for each of the pads. Now you'll see these little blocks right here, and this may be too small, but it'll go up each 16 grid, okay? And each 16 grid will have different sounds on it. So it looks like this bad boy right here is 64 drum sounds in this particular kit. You can load up, you know what I'm saying, 64 more drum sounds to give you, if my math is correct, 128 different drum sounds in one drum rack device. That means you have 128 Simpler devices or whatnot. And our PC meter would definitely show at 2%. So the Simpler device is basically latency free, no PC resources. It's no harm on your computer, and I love using it for drums, man. So let's just go through and you'll see all these orange pads I got. They're all drum sounds. You feel what I'm saying? But a lot of people would think, oh man, you know what I'm saying? That is a, I don't know what the hell that sound is. So let me go ahead and hit the stop button. All right, cool deal. So all of those sounds are Simpler, okay? And each one of these could be in classic, it could be in slice, or it could be in one-shot mode, okay? You have to make that determination or whatnot. So let's say, for instance, we'll get on this one. Now, this is a simple snare, okay? Now, the snare that you're seeing right here in this Simpler, it's in classic mode, okay? Now, oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's in one shot. Sorry. So sorry about that. It's in one shot. Yeah. I know that because it's showing the trigger in the gate, okay? Now, it's in trigger mode, okay? If I put it in gate mode, watch what happens. It's like a one shot, like in order to play the whole sample like a chugga 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 chugga, I have to hold that note down in its entirety. If you can see my finger, I'm holding it down, you'll see the pad is green. If I hit it one time, that's the gate function. So let's say, for instance, you have like some samples cut up and you got bling, bling, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to play what you actually push down. But if you put it in trigger mode, um, excuse me, right there, yeah, trigger mode would definitely, you know what I'm saying, play the whole full drum sample. And that's like awesome, you know what I'm saying? So you have different flexibility. You can also adjust the gain right here as well, okay? So that's basically, I just want to give you a bird's eye view of what the drum rack actually does. Each drum pad, when you drag a drum sound, a one-shot audio file, or entire song, and you put it in one of the pads on the drum rack, it will create a sampler. I wanted to get that cleared up because a lot of people just think, oh, that's the drum rack, and you just load a sound on there, and that's the drum rack. The drum rack is just basically like a house for multiple devices. Now, you can plug plugins like a contact player that has a one-shot drum in there, or a VST that has a drum kit. There's a lot of VSTs that are quote-unquote rumplers, and they have a drum kit built inside, but you have to, you know, utilize that drum kit in that particular VST. It's a stereo out. So the way to get around that, you can load up a drum rack and load up each VST on each pad, and, you know, saying, pick that particular key for each drum shot for that particular drum kit on that VST, and just load them up. You know what I'm saying? If it has 8 sounds on that particular VST, you know what I'm saying, you'll see. Let's do a little demo right quick. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this drum rack. I just basically wanted to show you guys, anytime you drag a audio file, no matter what kind of audio file, it will make a, well, all right, my phone going off. Sorry about that. It will make a simpler device on that particular drum pad. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut that drum rack. All right. And we're going to keep this empty drum rack right here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to load up that VST I was talking about. All right. I just wanted to show you this for shits and giggles. Okay. All right. And let's go ahead and find like one of these drum type of VSTs. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I got a lot of them. I'm just trying to figure out which one would be a perfect one. You probably can't see what I see, but let me see here. Oh, this may be a good one right here. Yeah, we'll go with this one right here. All right, so we're gonna load up one of these drum machines right here that I have. So this is a VST instrument. Now this one has multiple outputs for audio, but we're gonna pretend this doesn't. It's just a stereo out. So this pad right here, if I go, let me go back and hit note on this right here so we can trigger that. Change the layout on that real quick. All right, so if we were to play that one note, you know what I'm saying, right there, now we can, you know what I'm saying, basically play that drum pad right here. And then I can load this one up, just simply clicking left click, drag, and hold control at the same time. Boom. Then we got another one right here. And then, you know what I'm saying, we're basically, you know what I'm saying, right here. Let me find that key. Where you at? So you can, in essence, you can play, you know what I'm saying, both keys like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's just basically, you know what I'm saying, this is the option right there. But we're going to focus on simpler, okay? All right, cool deal. So let's go ahead and drag in an audio sample. And we're going to go ahead and just pick a drum kit. It really doesn't matter for this purpose of the video or whatnot. Let's see here. We're going to choose one of these bad boy right here. So we're going to drag in a clap, okay? So we got a clap. Let's go ahead and initiate that audio real quick. Just waiting on the hard drive to wake up. All right, so got these claps right here that we're going through in our sample folder, right? So let's just say, for instance, I like this clap right here, and I want to drag it on G1. All right, cool deal. Now what happens is got the clap right here, right? All right, cool deal. So when I hit that clap, it made it simpler, right? And by default in Ableton 10, it puts it in one shot mode. Okay. Now, let's say for instance, I wanted to put it in classic mode. Okay. Now I have it in classic mode and I could turn the gain down. Now, when you mess with the gain, you'll notice that the gain disappears. It comes back. So you can turn up the gain as much as like that's insanely loud. I'm not gonna play that for y'all. But you can adjust the gain. When you adjust the gain, that is like the incoming signal going into the simpler device for the audio sample, right? Now, we got to start sample start right here. Okay, so if we adjust the sample start, that sample start is just basically saying, where do you want to trigger the sample at? Now, is it accurate? No, it's not accurate. It used to be the old way where it'll detect and everything like that. And, you know what I'm saying, you can use that to kind of fix your samples and everything. But that was a little bit before my time. And basically, when I drag stuff in there, when I first got on Ableton Live, it was just basically I drag it on there. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? We're going to use it like that. You know what I'm saying? Just hit it like that or whatever case may be. But when you go, there we go. When you go into sampler, you also have these little triangles from the left and right, and you can make the adjustments to them. So when you come here and you drag this triangle right here, you're adjusting the loop. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see that or whatnot, but you're adjusting the loop. As a matter of fact, let me change my skin so you guys can see this screen a little bit better. Sometimes this Ableton Live is a little bit too bright. Let me change this real quick for you guys. All right, cool deal. All right, that should be easier to see. All right, so you got this little yellow mark right here, okay? Now, when you make this loop adjustment, you're adjusting the loop start, okay? So if you want to play the clap right here, you can. Bring it back all the way to the left, play the whole little deal right there, okay? Now, the length is basically, it adjusts from the back to the front. The sample start will adjust from the front to the back. But they do the same thing, but it's ass backwards in how they got it laid out. You know what I'm saying? So when I first got on Ableton Live, I was like, what the fuck? And that almost turned me to not mess with Ableton Live or whatnot. But when they added the one-shot function, it just made it real simple. You got a loop and you have a gate, you got a trigger, and it'll snap or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You can turn the snap on or off, whatever case may be. Okay. If you had, let's say, for instance, a hi-hat loop in there, you can actually hit the warp marker, and then now you can make the adjustment accordingly or whatnot. But you normally wouldn't use warp in, you know, a simpler device like this. Okay. So that's just basically the basics right there, man. Just adding a clap on there. It'll default in one shot mode. You get start drumming and stuff like that. Okay. So that is basically, you know what I'm saying, what it is in there. All right. That's it with the drum rack. It's real simple. You drag your sound in there. It goes on the drum rack. You start drumming. Okay. Let's say, for instance, we'll take that same folder. Let's say, for instance, we're going to choose an 808. This will be a good example. Okay. So I'm going to wait till this 808 load up. All right, cool deal. So let's say we like that 808. Long as fuck, right? Jesus Christ. We're going to drag that 808 right underneath the clap. Now, you can put your drums wherever you want to. It don't really matter. Now, when I hit that, we're in one-shot mode, remember? And we have two modes. We have a trigger and a gate. Now, when I hit it one time, it's just going to play that whole, what? According to the wave sample information, is 5 seconds long. We don't want to do all that. Let's say you was using this 808 as a kick. Okay. You want to put it in gate mode. So when you press it, notice it's only going to play what I press on the pad. If I was to hold it down, let's say for a second, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. You see what I'm saying? So the gate mode would be good for, you know what I'm saying, samples like a long 808 or whatnot. You have control over that. And now if we wanted to, we can turn on the gain and etc. Okay. Now let's go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, create a clip. So let's tap into tempo. We tapped into tempo. We got everything playing. We hit the metronome. Let's come up with a little drum pattern. All right, cool deal. Let's go ahead and run that back on that right there. Oops. Were we? Oh, okay. I guess it didn't do it. Let's go ahead and hit capture MIDI. I love the capture MIDI because anytime you make a mistake, you just hit capture MIDI and bam. You know what I'm saying? It works just like that. All right. So with the capture MIDI, you're going to learn a little bit of something right there. Now, the capture MIDI is basically picked up the last time you did right there. All we got to do is go right there to the first MIDI note, right click. You'll see right there, right click on that arrow that's pointing to the right. Hit set 1 there. Now it'll readjust your loop and make it an 8-bar loop or a 4-bar loop or however you played it. I'm going to adjust this to 8 bars, highlight all our notes, quantize, play. Hey. Oh. Yeah, okay, cool. So I made a mistake and I hit record. Actually, I hit play and I didn't hit record, but capture the MIDI. I'm telling y'all, that'll save your life when you had like something that was fire. Just hit capture the MIDI. It'll save your life. So we basically got our clip, right? Now let's go ahead and talk about hi-hats, okay? Cymbals, you know, the highs, you know what I'm saying? We want to talk about that. We're going to load in the crash, okay? We're going to wait for this. All right, so we got a crash right here. Now, with crashes, this is very unique. You can use those, right? Now, we got that crash right there. Now, let's say that was the only sound that you had in a drum kit and you were traveling the bar or whatnot, and you like, man, I need that snap. I need that hi-hat. That sound right there is what's up. Now, remember, we dragged that audio in there. It made a simpler device. We're in one-shot mode. We're in trigger mode. Okay? But you're like, man, I need to make that like a type of shit. You feel me? Now, one way you could do it is to adjust the end, okay? Now, the end is just basically going to be the end loop marker, okay? Now, on the push, there's a knob that coincides with the end loop marker. It doesn't show it graphical representation on the screen, okay? But you can see my finger, and you can see that end marker getting shorter and shorter and shorter on the wave file, okay? Now, if I adjust it by right here, if I adjust it a little bit shorter, okay then. Okay, we'll adjust a little bit shorter. We'll put it on note repeat. So you just made a somewhat of a fake ass hi-hat. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely have to do more processing on that. Yeah, right there. And you can even zoom in on the push, you know what I'm saying? On the push graphical representation, we can zoom in and we can get that. And we can adjust the end. So with the push too, you have a little bit more control over the wave files or whatnot. So we're gonna bring this back all the way, and that's me turning the knob, and you'll see it right there. But I'm just gonna grab my mouse and just bring that shit back. Okay. Now that was just, you know what I'm saying, using it manually to truncate the wave file, old school way. That's why the push 2, I like it. It's a mix of the new and the old, and it integrates with the parameters in Ableton Live. Okay. Now, what we can do is put it on gate mode and just like this. Now, what we have to do now, when I press on it, you don't hear anything, right? The reason why you don't hear anything because it's, if you zoom in, let's zoom in, y'all. You see this empty space right here? You got all this empty space. So when you press, you're getting like that fraction of a second. You see what I'm saying? So you have to find the transient. So you could zoom in and utilize your loop start. Just keep pressing it. Till you get it where you want. Okay. Now if you hold it, so if you play it, so that's that little cheesy ass shit right there, you know what I'm saying? Far as how you would just utilize a long ass wave file or audio file or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Just going through this so you really understand how you can utilize the trigger and the gate, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a default function for the drum rack. All right, cool deal. So that's the crash right there. Now we're going to just load in something more conventional like a regular hi-hat, you know what I'm saying? Regular hi-hat. I got it on trigger mode. Every time I press it, it is already there. Okay. Now, if I put it on gate, watch this. It's the same shit. That's because it's already fixed like it's supposed to be. You know whatnot, man. So that's just basically that. Then you can go in here, utilize a note repeat. Okay, cool deal. All right, so that is that on that, man. Everything else is self-explanatory. When it comes to that, even when you have perks or whatnot, percussion sounds, you know, you could just drag those on those cells. Now, this one real interesting, and you may come across a wave file in your drum kits, or whatnot, and you'll see like you have a short one shot, but then you got all this extra shit, and you got noise. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? Watch this. All that extra noise. What you could do, simply just adjust your loop in. Go till you can't, you know, you don't see any more silence. Zoom in. You have a zoom in button. All you got to do is just take your mouse, put it right there. You'll see a magnifying tool. Hold down, click, and just drag, and you can zoom in and out. Find where the line stops snaking. Once it stops snaking, that is the end of the wave file. Okay. So about right here. And you have the snap function. The snap function kind of, it works with the sample start and stop. You know what I'm saying? So it's automatically snapping to where the snaking stops. So it snap. Like, watch when I move this again. See that? You see that yellow shit push back? Now watch when I move it. Boom. It pushed right there. That's where the snaking stops. We zoom back in. Now it sounds like a real one shot. Watch this. Now watch this. I'm gonna drag this all the way out. Right to this. You hear that noise now? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So you really have to come in here and work with your drums or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get them tied up and everything like that. Get them right. Truncate them if you need to. And don't forget, if it doesn't sound right, you want to make sure you also adjust your pitches and everything like that. Now, let's say this pitch right here I didn't like, right? So we're going to play the drums. I want my drums to be in tune with the 808, right? All right, so I'm going to go to controls, right? All right, I'm going to pull up controls. Now, there's detune right here. So I'm negative 14 cents. Play it with the 808. you know what I'm saying? So what I did just basically, you know what I'm saying, I detuned that one shot negative 14 cents. I did do transpose. I wanted to make a little small change and whatnot. That's what they mean when you hear other people say, "Hey man, make sure you tune your drums to, you know, the bass or the root of the song, the root note of the song." That's what they're talking about. Make sure you're detuning your drums or transposing your drums or whatnot. That's just to give you a bird's eye view of, you know, saying how to work with drum samples in Ableton Live Simpler. Okay. Let me see what else I could think of that you can utilize. And we just been working with one shots. Okay, and we already what 41 minutes in. Okay. All right, cool deal. So now we got that understood. All right. Now let's go ahead and work with some loops. All right. Now that's the one shots. Now we're gonna go and find some real samples. Like, let's have some fun. All right, cool deal. So we're gonna type in soul and we're gonna find some shit. Let's go and that's yeah. This is we're about to have some fun, y'all. All right, cool deal. All right. Now you got a melodic loop, folders, and all this other stuff. Let's check out what they got, man. Let's check out what they got. Just waiting on the folder to load up. So we got a guitar loop, right? Okay. Let's load up something else. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go there and find something else right quick. A little bit too trippy for me, man. And there's really no movement. I don't like that. I don't like those type of beats. Let's find something else. Something a little bit more groovy. Might have to go back to that folder right there, man. Let's go to something else. That one is okay. It's all right. But we want to find something real groovy, man, or whatnot. Let's go to this 1993, man. See what they got in here. This is what I was talking about. Full compositions. All right, cool. So let's work with this one. Now, sampling. When you have something like this right here, you want to make sure that you tap the tempo. Now, some sample packs will give you a tempo, some won't. Luckily, you have a tap tempo function on the push. If not, you just use your mouse and you got a tap button at the top top left corner of Ableton Live, and you just tap it. Now we in raw mode. Now when you're doing this, it's very important. Okay, put your samples when you preview them in the browser in Ableton Live. Put it in raw mode. The reason why you want to put it in raw mode is so you get the original tempo. If you take it off of raw mode and it's not highlighted in whatever color scheme you have on your skin in Ableton Live, if it's not highlighted in that raw mode color, if you use the default skin in Ableton Live, it'll be yellow. It's going to adjust to the tempo in Ableton Live. So right now we have a tempo of 160.71. But, you know, if we hit play, and I'm going to take that 808 out of there so we can hit a clap. Okay, so that's the tempo of 160. But when we play this in raw mode, you get the original tempo of the sound. So let's play that. So that's nowhere near 160, right? Cool deal. So what you got to do is tap the tempo in. So we'll hit that one more time. We're going to tap the tempo, and here we go. Let's play it one more time. And it takes a little bit going back and forth to get it right. So, and I always like to have a clap in here, just kind of like bobbing like that. Here we go. Bye. It's going to loop back. It don't want to play for me. All right. Okay. What the hell's going on here? All right. So my hard drive just want to be a butt tonight. I apologize if you're watching. I really do. This is really holding up progress. Whatnot, man. This is so embarrassing. But y'all know how it is with computers and shit like that. They want to work when they want to work. Jesus, I literally like had it in there. Okay, let's just find something else. Shit. Alrighty. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the hell's going on with my computer. I'm so sorry about that, folks. Acting like it's freezing. But we'll go back to that same folder. Here we go. So in that case, when you got something like that going on or whatnot, just mute your clap, okay? Now, you have to go back and forth to find that rhythm and how to get the tempo and everything like that. But trust me, it's going to work. So we muted the clap because it's not working because you're trying to tap the tempo. You're trying to concentrate on the raw sample, right? So we're going to play it one more time. And you can go double time or you can go straight time. So normally I'll in my head, and it's only going to give you 4 beats to find it. So we'll play it again. Yeah, right there. Now I let it go, and I let it play. I let it play for a little while, and I hit the tap tempo button again to find the downbeat of the actual sample. Here we go. One more time. Okay, now that was double time. Now let's do it straight time, see what happened. Hit it one more time. Now we on straight time now. We're going to play that again. All right, cool deal. So you might be thinking like, well, Rich, man, like, you know what I'm saying? That metronome is like distracting or whatnot. Yes, it can be. Guess what? You can turn the metronome off. It's your prerogative. I normally turn it off. I hit play. And what I want is to hit play so Ableton Live can think about the tempo that I'm tapping in. And, you know what I'm saying? While it's in play and looping and stuff like that, it's conforming to that sample, that raw sample playing in the browser or whatnot. So if we was to play that again, watch what happens. Now, as I'm nodding my head, I'm tapping the tempo to the sample. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, cool deal. So we tap, 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 tap till we couldn't tap no more. We came up with 77.13 on the BPM. All right, now we good because we tapped the tempo for that particular sample. Okay, now what we're gonna do? We're gonna drag that tempo in there. The reason why I had to do that because if you was just to drag the tempo in there and the tempo of the session was at 160, you'd have fucked everything up when it comes to warping. That's why this method is so important. I had to figure that out for myself when I had to learn sampling in Ableton 1 because it was helpful like that. Oh, I'm sorry to catch a Charlie horse. Sorry about that. Catching a pull. Ooh, a pull muscle in my thigh. Shoot. Sorry about that. Oh my God. Live TV, right? Live TV, man. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, cool deal. Let me adjust my thing. All right. Sorry about that. Live TV. Y'all probably laughing at me like this dude here. But anyway, man. So yeah, I basically had to perfect, saying tapping the tempo in before I actually drag the audio sample in there. The reason why is because you want to establish the tempo for that particular sample first. That way you can utilize the warping functions like you want to, okay? So now that we tap the tempo in at 77.13, we just simply drag it onto a new track. Just drag it into the empty part where it says drop files and device here. So we're going to drop that right there. Now you just see a big ass wave file, right? Now, Ableton Live is going to do its best to try to find the BPM it thinks it is. Now it's telling us 6484. Okay, but we tapped it at 7713. Tell you how to get around that. Click warp off on the wave file, right? Click it back on. It's gonna make a change again. So you kind of like do a little double click. Sometimes it'll go ahead and get in there, and sometimes it won't. That's okay. Show y'all how to do this. All right. So you want to zoom in. Let's say, for instance, you like this part right here. We're gonna hit play. And it's a little bit fast. That's all right. It's cool. So you see, like, everything is not lining up because the tempo we tapped in is at 77.13. Ironically, this is 64. It's supposed to be slower, but it's faster. That's because it's trying to catch up with the session tempo. What you need to do is just go ahead and manually put the tempo in right here in the segmented BPM section. So all you do is just type in 77.13. Okay. Yeah, and my screen is covering it up right there. Let me go ahead and make that adjustment real quick. Because it's going to be vital for you guys to see this right here. All right. So right here, I type in 77.13, right? When I type that in, now it's going to warp to the tempo, right? Magic, right? Just magic. Magic, right? So this is why I said, and I'm stuck in one position because I feel my leg is just tight, and if I move it, I'm gonna get that Charlie horse again, whatnot. But when you tap that tempo into the original audio, and you go back and you put in the tempo manually after you have restarted the warp, this is the magic that happens. And a lot of people, they don't like Ableton Live because they don't figure it out. Now, someone may have a different method of finding the tempo for them in Ableton Live because there's a different way you could do that by just slicing shit up, moving it around or whatnot, but that takes a lot of time. This one right here, all you got to do is tap, 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 tap it until you know the tempo that's moving in Ableton Live as it's playing while you're previewing the wave file. You bring it in to Ableton Live, double tap that warp marker, manually put the tempo in, and magic. Now I can go in here, and we're going to definitely, you know what I'm saying, this is a long sample right here. So we're going to just only do 4 bars for this tutorial. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to check the transients, right? So we're going to add a warp marker here on this transient, a warp marker here on this transient. Let's see, one around this downbeat right here. We see this right here, and I'm eyeballing this, okay? So I'm looking at the big transients, all right? This is another big transient right there. All right, so that's what I got so far, just big transients, okay? Now we're going to play this again. All right, now you'll notice that we have a little indentation right here. If you zoom in, you have a little indentation right there. Zoom in some more, you got one right here. Don't get fooled on the first transient. Always look at your first transient and zoom in on any device, whether you use a machine, Studio One, Logic, or anything like that. Pay attention to your first transient because that's vital, okay? Now, what we're going to do with that first transient, we're going to move that over to 1. Now, it's going to elongate that range between this first warp marker and the second warp marker, okay? Now, what we're going to do now, you see this one right here? This is like right after 1.3. the first measure or the first bar on the third beat. We're just going to move that onto that. And it's automatically going to attach to 1.3. This one is a little bit behind. It's not on the second bar. We're just going to move that to the second bar. This one is a little bit behind on 2.3. Okay. And so forth and so on. This one right here is behind, you know what I'm saying, the half beat of the second bar and the fourth beat. We're going to put that on that particular grid right there. So you're adjusting these warp markers to the grid that's given to you visually. All right. Now, we made those changes with the warp markers. We're going to hit play and see if that actually lines up to the T on the tempo. Watch. Told y'all. I told y'all, man. I told you. And a lot of people miss that step. And this is kind of like I really want to re-emphasize. Tap your tempo while you're previewing any sample before you drag it into Ableton Live, because it's vital. It'll save you 15 to 20 minutes on trying to get all these warp markers and add together and going back, forth and back and all that other good stuff. For real, for real. We have a 4-bar loop. Perfect. Okay. Now, the thing that we want to do now is to change the warp mode. Now, the warp mode is the second most important thing because we're getting it set up for the simpler device, okay? Now, it's on beats. Not a problem, but we made changes to the wave placement. And so what Ableton Live is doing is using its calculations on trying to get everything to sound on time, but it's having to hurry up and play, slow down this part, hurry up this part or whatnot because of the warp markers that we sliced in there. So there's a function called complex. How to explain complex, I really don't know. But complex is basically it's an algorithm in there that it just makes it like it makes it like zero latency. Like you just take a knob and you just make everything go or whatnot. But basically, it'll tell you complex is basically for whole songs or complete audio or complex audio or whatnot. It's not made for drums. It's not made for hi-hats or drum loops. Something that has, you know what I'm saying, straight on transient rhythmic loops or whatnot, or transients or whatnot. This is kind of complex because you got a lot of instruments and different things going on. So complex is basically, you know what I'm saying, it's made for whole songs or complex audio. That's the definition this gave you on the info view. Okay, so we put it on complex mode. Now I'm gonna put it back on beats. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna put this in a loop so you guys can hear this. Okay, now watch this. Pay attention to this part. You hear like it's not smooth, right? That's because we have it on beats. But if we put it on complex, now watch this. It's gonna be like straight audio. See the difference? I hope you heard the difference right there around the third bar. Okay. Now I'm gonna put it back on beats to play that same spot. See how there's like a stutter in the audio? You have to listen real close, but you put it back on complex. It's a little bit more smooth. Now you can put it on Complex Pro, but it uses a little bit more PC resources and whatnot. So we got a 4-bar loop, okay? Now we're good. We can start creating around this. If you had a push 2, there's a magic button on here, man, to make you save your life. Okay, so I'm gonna show you on the push and I'm gonna show you on the computer. I'm gonna show you on the computer first. All right, let's get with it. All right, looking at my time, we're right at about an hour, man. Appreciate my one viewer hanging on or whatnot. I kind of got an idea of who you is. I'm not exactly sure who you are, but I appreciate you so much hanging out with me or whatnot, man. Shout out to you. All right, so what we're gonna do is right click in this particular loop. Now you will see a menu, right? Right here, you see different things: slice to new MIDI track, convert harmony to new MIDI track, convert melody to a new MIDI track, convert drums to a new MIDI track, or whatnot. So you have all this, you can warp from here. You can do a lot of different things or whatever. But what we want to do is convert to a simpler. Now, when you convert melody to a new MIDI track, it's basically going to pick out different instruments that Ableton Live thinks that what it's going to do. So like, for instance, convert drums to new MIDI track. It's basically going to take those warp markers and between warp 1 and warp 2, that's going to be on a drum pad. Just think of it that way. It's going to take every slice and put it on a different drum pad or whatnot. But that's how it shows you on the software. If you have push, all you have to do is hit the convert button, and push to tell you, okay, you can choose between a simpler, a drum pad, harmony MIDI, melody MIDI, or drum MIDI. So basically, the harmony MIDI, melody MIDI, and drum MIDI is going to take the transients and make MIDI notes out of them and put them in note formation. You know what I'm saying? So you can take that audio and turn it into a MIDI clip. Basically, that's what it's telling you. But we want a actual device. Now, we can do drum pads. Let's hit drum pads. Let's see what happens. We're going to hit drum pads. Bam. It just took that one audio loop and made a drum pad out of it. You got your one shot. But we don't want that, though. We don't want that. We're going to undo that. We're going to go back to that same file. We're going to hit convert on the push. Okay. We're going to hit simpler. Now it made a simpler device for me. It's already looped for me. You see that? It's already looped. Okay. Guess what else happens? Everything we did for as looping it, made sure it's on time, it reflects in here. So you see what we did with the warping and the timing, and we fitted it just right. We did all the tempo changes and everything. All that information is retained between 1 and 5. 1 bar and 5 bar, which makes up 4 bars. We got a 4-bar loop that you're seeing right here. All that information we made with the warp markers and moving it in time and everything transitions over into the simpler device. So if we hit, yeah, let's yeah, you hear it, right? Okay, talk to me slow. Now, if we hit the play button, you hear the tempo, right? Now, we're in classic mode. I'm gonna throw it in one-shot mode. I'm gonna show y'all. Throw it one-shot mode. Watch this. Cool deal. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically that right there, okay? Now, you want to chop this up. You want to have fun with it, right? You can't do it in one shot. You can't do it in you really can't do it in classic mode or whatever. So you have to put the mode in slicing mode. What just happened? You see all that yellow shit, right? That is Ableton Live going in and it's detecting every transient between, or actually the whole audio sample, because you have a little bit back here. But you see everything is sliced up, ready to go for you to enjoy. And the sensitivity, there's the sensitivity knob. Okay, right here. Right there where my mouse is. There's 100% sensitivity. You can adjust that, okay? We're going to go ahead and adjust that. And you'll notice, let me go ahead and bring that back. Let me zoom out. All right, cool deal. Let me get that right there. Okay, y'all can see that, right? I'm going to bring this to 50%. All right, so the sensitivity knob or section is at 50%. You'll notice a lot of our yellow lines disappeared and our pads on the push disappeared. The reason why is because when you put it in a slice mode, every slice acts as a start for a drum pad or slice on the push or whatnot to play this, okay? Now, if we bring it to 0, you'll notice we have actually 16%. We only have 1, 2, 3, and 4 slices. All right, cool deal. So we got a slice, and you notice when we hit that pad on the push or your keyboard, if you have one, it stops because it's now slice mode is acting as a one shot. Okay, so it's good because it's the simpler device is reading the slices by transient. Now you can change it from transient. You remember when I said you had transient, beats, bars, you have regions, and you got manual slicing. Okay, now we're gonna put it on beat. Now you'll see every beat of the sample you can play. So we got 16 pads. Okay, and you can even change the division of this. Like we're on quarter notes, so every quarter note that loop plays, it makes a slice for it. Bop, 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 bop. You know what I'm saying? That's that MPC style, you know what I'm saying, slicing or whatnot. That's cool if you like that. I didn't grow up on an MPC, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? I learned the hard way where I had to slice everything manually, you feel me? So that's the beat mode. The region mode, it's a little hard to explain the region mode, but basically, let me get on that region mode real quick. Let me get on that region mode. This doggone thing sensitive. Let me go ahead and click it in. All right, so region mode is basically going to take different regions and randomly put them like at a transient. That makes sense. So it's going to try to do its best. It's going to try to do its best to play each region or whatnot. So let's say, for instance, you want only 8 pads. Okay, cool. Not a problem. You want 9 pads, you want 10 pads, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, goddamn it. Hell, it's going to do that for you. And it's going to try to work it out where you can play it. So region mode is almost like the beats mode, but it acts as bars, so to speak. But what it'll do is it'll adjust, you know what I'm saying, accordingly to how many regions or pads that you want or whatnot. I don't fuck with that one either, man. You know what I'm saying? So beats, it depends. If it's a drum sample, I'll mess with it a little bit. Or if I want to be lazy. Region, never dealt with it. Manual, that's my nigga right there. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. That's my people. Whatnot, man. Manual slicing is what I like to do. It's real cool on the push because you can't do this. Like, you can do it with a MIDI controller, not a problem, a keyboard or whatnot. But with the push itself, it's real cool because you can basically, you hit the first pad. I'm gonna turn it down. When you hit the first pad, it's gonna play everything right there. So let's say we hit it again. Now, right next to that first pad on the push, right here, if you see my finger, there's this faint pad that's flashing. It's saying, please press me. It's saying, please press me. Please press me when you hear that next downbeat or whatever you want to trigger. That's what it's doing. That's in manual mode, the manual slice mode. Okay. Now you got different playbacks you can do, Lo. So that's mono, or you could change the playback to poly and you can play more than one pass at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? So that's that right there. But we're going to focus on that manual. Okay. So it's flashing right now. So we're going to play that again. We're going to find the next slice we want to do manually on here. Watch this. That was my next slice. So we got 1, 2. Gonna play 2 again. We're gonna play 2 again. Bam. 3, 4. Boom. All right, so we're gonna just work with those 4 right now, okay? I wanna get y'all lost in the sauce, okay? So I just randomly tapped in 4 slices by myself with my fingers. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the first one. We already know that one on point. We got to figure out where it gets on point on the second one, okay? So we got the second one right here, okay? Now, this is kind of like an NPC style situation. The magic knob you want to look for is nudge, okay? The nudge, all right? Now, if we go on to the controls, let's try to see if we can find a nudge. Yeah, it's not here, right? Yeah. Go back to the sample. Yeah. So, Rich, how the fuck I'm a nudge, Rich? Simple. You just zoom in on the wave file. Okay. We got the loop right here. You go right here. You see this little line? You can move it on the computer. So if you just only have a keyboard and a mouse and you need to make that adjustment, all you got to do is just basically zoom in until you see these little triangles pointing down on the wave file. Just keep on zooming in. Keep on. Oh, you see them triangles right now? Okay, cool. You're going to see these arrows that's pointing out left and out right. Once you see those and you hover your mouse over the down triangles, you'll see that kind of like a two-headed arrow. Now you will be able to nudge. So now you can move that line. You see me move that line right there? Yeah. Now you can move that line, and that is the start of the second pad. So we're going to play the first one. You see it flashing, right? That's why I like Ableton Live. It lets you know what you're doing, right? So that's the first one. All right, cool deal. So that's just giving you an example, okay? Now, we're gonna fix the third one, okay? Now, I'm not gonna use it with the mouse click and everything like that because I got the push. So what I'm gonna do is there is a knob function on the 1, 2, 3, 4 knob, and we can adjust the nudging on the push itself. So all we have to do is click on the third pad, right? You see that flashing? That's the third pad, right? So let's zoom in. We can zoom in now on the push. We can zoom in, or what you can do, click in that little area and zoom in. It's your prerogative, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that nudge. Now, watch. I'm turning it. This is me on the push. It's a graphical representation. So I'm going to put it about right there, okay? And I can also eyeball this in on the push as well, okay? So we about right there. Boom, okay? Now I'm going to zoom back out. Now you see that fourth one is way the fuck off, right? That part. See, that fourth one is way off. That's where you have to zoom out on here. If you're using the mouse, you zoom out and you zoom in accordingly and you move it where you need to. Or if you're on the push, you press on the fourth pad and just nudge it. So we're gonna go all the way back. We move some real estate now. We move some real estate. Okay. I'm doing that on purpose so y'all can see how the push 2 is so integrated with Ableton Live. Now, let's say I don't like that, okay, Rich, I don't like that, Rich. That ain't it, Rich. Zoom in on the push. You can zoom into the T just like you can on the software itself. Okay, we're gonna zoom in on that a little bit more. Right there. Yeah, that's it right there, okay? Cool deal. So we're going to reset our zoom. Now, I saw something when I was zooming in and out. Okay, so that's that one right there. Now, I saw something when I was zooming out on the first one. And let me zoom in. Let me hit the press one. Let me press that first pad. I'm zooming in. Now, let me go for y'all on the computer. You see all that empty space you have right there? That's the first pad. You hear that clunk? That clunk? You don't want that. You want a clunk. So let's go ahead and make that adjustment. I'm going to make it manually on the computer, okay? Bam. Right there. If you know anything about transients, that you always want to start on the up part of the transient once you start getting like right here. You see what I'm saying? Like you got a solid line that you have. You have a fundamental solid line. Look, you can zoom in and you can see all the sample rate. Now, if this was a 24-bit, 48,000 sample rate audio file, each dot represents one sample out of 48,000 samples for this whole entire audio file. That's the resolution of the audio. Make sense? I just lost you. I know I did. Whatnot, man. But what you want to do is zoom in until you start seeing the snaking. I told y'all the snaking really is going to help y'all out. So what we're going to do is we're going to nudge that to this part right here. I'm going to just put my little magnifying tool right there, and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, and I'm just going to, oh, I missed it right there. There you go. And I'm using the nudge knob on the push too, okay? Now, if I wanted to, I could just, drag it with the mouse, be fine and precise. Sometimes I do that because timing is everything with a sampling. All right, so I did that right there. See what I'm saying? Time is everything with the sampling or whatnot, man. So we got that established or whatnot, but we still got some of this sample right here to do, okay? All right, so we got that. We're still in manual pad slicing, okay? So once we do that, we're gonna add another one right here. Okay, cool deal. Now we added 2 more slices to complete the loop, okay? So let's go back and check these the 5th and the 6th one. Cool deal right there. All right, cool deal. So now if you want to confirm, you're slicing and everything like that, just hit play. Go. I was late. we can add one more right there when they go. That's what I love about the Simpler. You can get in there and be precise on the manual slicing, and you have full control over manual slicing in the Simpler. Now, basically, we're going to turn off the manual pad slicing. We're going to zoom back out. We're going to play that clap that we have right here, and let's get busy. Let's see what we got. Now, remember, we have this sample loop right here. Now, this could be your reference points just in case you have to go back and use the audio and you want to do something, matriculate this audio sample right here and do like some filtering or, New York compression, parallel compression or whatnot. You can utilize that, but we're going to mute that because we're going to play the whole entire sequence. So we're going to hit play right here. And we're in double time because the tempo is 77 and I tap that at 160. So what you could do is, if you go right here where my mouse is, it's a section called notes or the clip view. Just go ahead and change the half tempo function right here. We're going to increase that so we can get a little busy. Oh, actually decrease. Sorry about that. Yeah. Now we can get busy. Okay. Those quick things right there. You ain't got to record no more claps. It's just adjust the halftime. Here we go, y'all. All right, cool deal. Now I'm gonna show you something else with that. Now we know the timeline is not right. That's okay, cool, not a problem. You can do manual slicing again. So that second pad is the problem, right? It's the problem child. So what you can do is find where that horn goes. that we want to cut it right there. So what you want to do is turn on manual slicing again, okay, on your push. Now, in the computer, you can go ahead and just double click that. All right, now remember, you always want to see your down arrows on the audio file, right? You see that? The down arrows? Just double click with the magnifying tool. Now, I don't like how Ableton Live uses the magnifying tool as a double click function for its graphical reasons as a pointer, but it works. You just double click on there. You just added a loop. You just added a slice or a pad on the push. Okay, let me do that for you because I was talking. I'm gonna Control Z. We're gonna hit the second pad. That we want that right there. You just take your magnifying tool, or you can click anywhere. But we know this little section right here, right? We're gonna double click right there. It's gonna create a slice for us, and that's going to translate on the push too, and it's gonna add a pad for us. Okay. Now we can go ahead and play that. Now on the push, it's flashing on the 8th pad. Now we can manually slice anywhere in this audio file, and what it's going to do is going to push all the slices over to the right or move it accordingly or whatever case may be. So we're going to go ahead and play that. All right, so I hit the 8 pad. Now it's a little funky, but you have to really see it. And I know y'all can't really see it, but when you hit that second pad and the pad that's flashing, it's flashing on 9. If I wanted to add another loop on anything I play, you have to hit the flashing pad. That's the way you do manual slicing on the push. It took me about an hour or two when I first learned this function on the push 2, how to utilize it. But I think they really need to change that, how they do that. But hey, it is what it is. If you get confused by that, simply just go in and you can zoom in with your mouse click and just double click in there and just manually move it like that. Or if you just like to have hands-on stuff right there, like I said, just go ahead and, the flashing pad, press on any pad that you need to make a change to or cut in half, and just hit the flashing pad and add that slice in there. So now, we can work with that one little slice we need to. So I'm gonna zoom out so y'all can see that right there. That's the pad we added right there on the 3rd. It's the 3rd pad right here. So what we're gonna do is gonna adjust the nudge. All right, cool deal. We adjusted that. We're gonna bring the zoom back out, and we're gonna play that again. All right, cool deal. So we got something. So we had to make those adjustments on there. We're going to go ahead and turn off manual pad and everything like that. Now we can add and start building on that slice. So we can go ahead and record that real quick. And. I messed up. Let's do that one more time. Welcome to Twitch Live. Here we go. All right, let's do that one more time. I figure, and you got to figure out your patterns and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know sampling. It ain't no different. All right, cool deal. So we got it. We got a sample and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and play that back and see what we get. All right, cool deal. So now we can start adding drums to that. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you make your adjustments to your loop and everything like that, and you're good to go. Now you can quantize this. Just be careful of that, because sometimes when you quantize that, it'll get off a little bit. Now there's one thing I want to kind of warn you. So when you do use simpler, a leftover note like this one and it loops back, it will kind of linger over. So it was this one right here. So that particular pad, what we have to do is that particular slice, because we're in trigger mode. So anytime you have a pad that lingers over and it loops back, it's going to play the leftover stuff while it loops back. So to get around that is you have to put it in gate mode. Now, when we put it in gate mode, check out what happens. Yeah. So you got to be cognizant of how you're sampling in simpler. So we did it in trigger mode. It sounded beautiful, right? But, you know what I'm saying? It's the nature of the sample that we did and the sampling that we did or whatnot, man. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and cut that. We're going to play it again, but we're going to do it in gate mode. And gate mode will protect us from the loop and all the excess audio that's going to play when Ableton Live loops back over. Check it out. Watch this. 6 and 7 and 8. All right. So now you'll notice that the notes are longer. See what I'm saying? Now you see the difference. So the notes are shorter because we was in trigger mode and all we had to do was just press, and Ableton is just playing the pads for us. La 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 la. Now we got to work a little harder when you're in gate mode or whatnot. So that's kind of like what I wanted to show you guys on that part right there. So I hope you got that. If you got any questions, feel free to email me, jcsproductions@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram @SupaMario_producer. DM me. I'll definitely help you out. Let's talk about drums, okay? So we're going to go ahead and keep that in there. Actually, let's go ahead and do that right. Let's go. All right, I ain't gonna play all that. I'm just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna go ahead and keep it like it is and put that in a loop and be done with that. Yeah. All right, gonna make it see where we can see those MIDI notes a little bit better. Gonna zoom in. All right, cool. So we got a loop going, right? Now let's say we wanted to use a drum loop, okay? So we're gonna go real quick. I'm just gonna type in drum loop in the browser. And we're going to find something real quick, man, so we can get this on and popping and get up on out of here, man. All right, man. Appreciate y'all riding there. We're almost at our cutoff time, 45 minutes. Yeah, that's me. All right, cool deal. Let's find something in this right here. I'm just randomly choosing some shit. Matter of fact, yeah. Let's see what this drum loop is all about, y'all. And we're going to go in and we're going to show you how it works with drum loops. Yeah, we don't want nothing filtered. We want some real drums, man. Don't give me that bullshit. Come on now. I like Ableton Live's browser because it allows you to find stuff that you exactly need. So if you're looking for something exactly at a tempo, keyword, you can find it. And we just not having the luck just finding something on point that'll kind of go with it or whatever, or something we could just chop up. Y'all brace with me, man. I'm all over the place tonight, man. I apologize for that. That pull muscle really have me in a fucked up place right now. Perfect. Here we go. Yeah. So we're gonna use that right there, man. Now it's at tempo 70, okay? Our tempo is 77.13. Now, you see the loop? Okay? See the loop, right? So what we want to do is double click on warp. Change the loop to 7 77.13. Now you'll see the loop adjust. Okay. Now you said, Rich, man, why you didn't go ahead and tap the tempo? Because this is a drum loop. God damn it. This is a drum loop. Okay. This is a drum loop. Okay. It's in rhythm. It's easy. It's going to be easy to find, easy to warp. All I got to do is just change the tempo and we're good. Okay. Now check this out. Threw y'all in the loop. I got you. I got you. You know what? The reason why it's off? Because I dragged it from the browser into Ableton Live. Ableton Live it does real good on drum loops, rhythm loops, percussion loops, anything that has a transient rhythm. It does good at, okay, cool. You dragged it in here. This is a different time. We're gonna adjust it to 77.13 BPM. Cool, not a problem. You don't have to do this on this type of audio. Let's go ahead and Control Z, keep it at 70, and you're good. Because it's on beats. It's on beats. The warp mode is on beats. Watch this. It's on 70. The original drum loop. Session loop is at 77.13. Check this out. That's Ableton Live reading the tempo. Ableton Live just adjusted the tempo for this particular drum loop. It's a little bit of off. It's a little bit of off. As I made that up, a little bit of off. It's a little bit off, but that's okay because you can use the warp markers to put it in place. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. All right, so let's find the downbeats first. Let's go to 2. Bam, warp marker. 3, warp marker. 4, warp marker. Now, all we got to do now is adjust those warp markers to the downbeat. That was a little movement. That was a little movement. And that was a little movement. Like little fraction movements or whatnot. Now we can go in and now do each beat if we want to, but let's see how it sounds with just moving the downbeats. Now see right there on that second beat, that clap sounded a little off. So we're going to go ahead and make that adjustment and let's play that back again. All right, cool deal. So we got that right there. We're going to go ahead and make that adjustment. All right. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to take this drum loop and put it on all drum racks. Gotcha. All right, cool. What we're going to do is we're going to convert this right here on the push. We're going to go ahead and convert that drum loop into a drum pad. Now watch this. Boom. It just did it like that, okay? Now we're going to go back and Control Z that again. All right. Now what we want to do is right click on there and we want to, let me see if I can see it. We want to, where is that? Convert drums to a new MIDI track. Watch this, y'all. All right. Converted the drums into a new MIDI track. I'm about to fuck y'all head up. I'm giving y'all a test. You picked the wrong thing. The reason why is so what Ableton Live does is it just basically creates a default drum kit, but it takes the transients and make drum loop a MIDI loop out of it. That's not what you want. So if you choose that, don't choose that. Okay. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 samples chopped up, right? So what you want to do is you want to crop the sample, or basically you could just extract the grooves. You can do all those different things and whatnot. But let's say, for instance, you wanted to you got all your samples or whatnot. You can hold that down and you can do simpler. Okay. And so simpler from there, boom, just like that. Now this is the way you want to do it. Do simpler. Now you want to put it in slice mode, okay? So simpler, put that in slice mode. Slice the transients. Nah, you want to put it on beats, okay? Now you have beats. You got 16 pads, right? But let's say, for instance, I want to control each sound individually or whatnot, man. Rich, can you help me out? Not a problem. You go, and now when you hit the convert button on the push, it'll take those 16 slices that you did in the simpler, and it will now convert it into a drum rack. Boom. Now you're seeing it converted into a drum rack. Now we got drum racks for each slice. We play that with the drum, with the whole song. Now, of course, we have to go in there and truncate all the everything or whatnot. I know I lost you. I know I lost you. I know I lost you. But let's run that beat back, okay? Let's run that beat back. All right. So this is what we have in the drum loop. Okay. This is our drum loop. And we put it in slice mode. Okay. Remember that drum loop we had right here? We sliced up and everything. We did this part right here to make sure the timing is right. Okay. Once you do that, you have to convert it and make it a simpler. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can really do that is to basically take this. Now, in the computer, it doesn't have that. So the workaround with that, you have to go to the Ableton Live devices or the instruments, drag a simpler in there. Boom. A blank simpler. You take what you fix all the timing here. What you do is you drag that sample. Oh, excuse me. Go back to the simpler. You grab the audio right here on that particular audio track and just drag it into the simpler. And it's the same thing as what I did on the push, for as hitting the convert button and then making it a, you know what I'm saying, a doggone simpler. Okay. So the push does stuff a little bit differently than it does in the software. So I'm showing you both ways. So if I confuse you, I'm so sorry. But I have to write an ebook on this one right here. But on the computer, you have to drag a simpler manually in there to create a track, and then you drag your audio into the simpler. On the push, you got a button, you're done. That's why the push is so popular. You know what I'm saying? It's just make life easy. So you got that. You got the simpler, okay? And like I said, you throw the simpler in slice mode. You want to go not slicing by transients. So that's this part right here. You don't want to do it by transients. You want to do it by beats. Now you got 16 beats. Now you could do is right click in there, and anywhere in the blue or anywhere where the slices are, anywhere in the audio, right click, you'll see something that says slice to drum rack, or you can slice it to a new MIDI track. Okay. It's going to take each of those slices and make it in a drum rack. Watch this. Boom. Just like we did on the push. Same situation. We're going to Control Z. Let's say you wanted to, again, throw it into slice mode or whatnot. Okay, right click. You want to slice it to the new MIDI track? This is what happens. Instead of new MIDI track, it's still going to be sliced into individual drum tracks, individual slices. And then now you got 16 more simplers and whatnot, man. So that's this part right here is really where people get confused about Ableton Live, and you really have to sit down and figure out a way that works for you in Ableton Live or whatnot, man. So that's basically working with the drums. I showed you a way to work with the audio loops and everything like that. It's real self-explanatory, and it's a little hard, and I hear a lot of people whine and cry about Ableton Live. It's hard, but you really have to get in there and you have to dig deep and find out which way works for you, because you may be fine with just playing it on the keyboard. Like I'm playing that on the keyboard, and I just got the, you know, that's just the default slicing in Ableton Live simpler. Playing it on the key, that may work for you, but you're a finger drummer, so this option may not work for you because you want more control of each pad. That's where you have to convert the simpler into a drum kit. Okay. And you just hit convert, drum rack, bada bing, bada boom. There you go, right there. Now you can go in. Okay, now let's expand out and you'll see what I'm talking about. You see, you got two kick hits. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that know how to do that Kanye West playing on a keyboard type of stuff we did beforehand on a simpler. That's kind of like an ASR style type of sampling. This is more like MPC. So if I would just want one kick, I just hit that, you know what I'm saying? Adjust the end point, and I got one kick hit. Now you say I got 2 hits? Okay, cool, not a problem. I just adjust the end point, take that other one out of the factor. Now I got that. Oh, I got the little at the end. Cool, not a problem. We're gonna go ahead and adjust the loop point. Ain't that something? So you hit that. Yeah. Now let's hit record. All right, cool deal. We're gonna go ahead and now what we could do is just take that clip right there, and we're just gonna go ahead and quantize that. Now on the push again, you would probably have to go and highlight on the computer. You have to highlight all the notes, right click, go to quantize settings, or hit quantize, adjust your amount, and hit OK. You quantize. On the push, nah, bro, it works a little bit. Let me go ahead. It works a little bit different. All you got to do, hit quantize, adjust your quantize amount. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to quantize that at 75%. All I got to do is turn my dial at 75% on the third knob underneath quantize amount and double tap it one more time. It quantized for me. I just saved myself 3 seconds. Turn the metronome off. Boom. You got something started. Now, what I showed you in about an hour and 25-30 minutes, it probably would have taken me about 10 minutes to get all of that started right there. That's why I highly encourage anyone that's, getting into Ableton Live to get you a push too. It helps the workflow tremendously, at least about 75 to 80%. Let me say that again. If you purchase a push 1 or a 2, it will increase your workflow 75% to 80% faster. It's a lot of things you have to do. Right click, and you got to know the ins and outs on the right clicks and know what the underlying menu is or whatnot. What Ableton Live did was it made all of that simple in one device that integrates with the software Ableton Live. Okay. So that's why I always highly encourage people, get you a push 2, and you will understand both sides of the world. And when you make a beat for somebody on the spot, they're going to be like, what the fuck? How the fuck you did that? Because I've been trying to figure that shit out for like 2 weeks or a month and whatnot. And you did it on the push 2, and you made the shit look so easy, and you moving like that. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I highly encourage people, get you to push 2 or whatnot. Hey, man, that was simpler right there, man. I'm going to go ahead and play that beat in the background and everything like that for you guys, man. Hey, bro, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I apologize for the technical difficulties I had. That really threw me in a loop. I apologize for the Charlie hearts I had. That threw me in a loop. I apologize for the phone in the background. That threw me in a loop, whatnot. I was really rushing tonight. I apologize for that, but we'll definitely touch up on the simpler in next tutorial on Sunday night. We're gonna go ahead and touch up on the Serato sampler and why Serato sample can kind of save you a lot of time. And a lot of people probably come back and watch this video and be like, hey man, that's simple as a motherfucker. It is. It's a learning curve, but I guarantee you can learn it. You just got to get in there, dig deep, and take everything one step at a time. Understand how to find the tempo. Understand how once you find the tempo, you have to drag it into Ableton Live first. Okay, once you drag it in Ableton Live, you have to chop up your samples to get it timed just right with the metronome. Once you do it just right with the metronome, now you can, take that audio sample that you just did, put that in the sampler. Once you put it in the sampler, then you can chop it up in the sampler. Then once you chop it up in the sampler, you can convert it into a drum rack and stuff like that. So you got these steps you have to follow in order for it to make sense. Ableton Live is not going to give you the candy. You got to work hard for the candy. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, man, this has been your boy, Super Mario, man. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Super Mario_producer. You know what I'm saying? Follow me there on Instagram. Also follow my podcast. I have a podcast where I give out music production information and news, tips, tricks, interviews for artists, producers, and engineers and business owners as well. Follow On The Beat podcast. On The Beat podcast, man. That's my podcast right there. Follow that on Instagram at On The Beat podcast, man. If you're interested on coming to the podcast, chopping it up with your boy, or you want to promote your music businesses or anything like that, man, feel free to DM us on Instagram at onthebeat.podcast or email us onthebeat.podcast@gmail.com. We'll definitely take care of you right there, man. Shout out to everybody out there staying creative and everything like that, man. You know what I'm saying? People, hey, stay safe out there. This COVID still is lurking around and everything like that, man. If you got any questions about Ableton Live, always feel free to reach out to me, man. Shoot me a message here on Twitch. Shoot me a message on my email, jcsproductions@gmail.com, on Instagram at supermario_producer. I can take care of you right there. Simpler it's fun once you learn it. It's not fun when you're trying to learn it. You understand what I'm saying? So watch a lot of YouTube videos. Definitely hit me up if you got any questions. But once you learn Simpler, it will take sampling into a whole different dimension inside Ableton Live, man. And each DAW have their own ways of samplers, and there's a lot of different samplers that does a lot of different things. You have to find a sampler that works for you. Now, when I show you guys Serato is really going to be easy because it gives you the tempo. It tells you what the tempo is. It tells you what the pitch is. All you got to do is go in there and slice. And I feel like that's a cheat code. But if you need to save time and you just need to get to work, that's what it is. I'm a complex person, so I like complex shit. You know what I'm saying? So this is right up my alley. But Serato sample is also, I love it as well. And I play with both of them and mix and choose. Now, if I got a lot of samples that I'm working with and I need to be intricate, or I want to get kind of like an old school vibe like with what we got right now and do that or whatever, Ableton Live is definitely what's up. But if you just need to chop some stuff, you can't find the pitch, you can't find the tempo, pull up Serato sample, it'll work for you. But I'll show you that on Sunday night, man. This has been your boy Super Mario, man. I done hit my mark right here, man. An hour and 48 minutes. I do not want to go over 2 hours. I hope this video really works well for you guys. This stream works well for you guys. Appreciate that one person in the stream, man. Really rocking with your boy, man. I appreciate it, man. It's gonna take a time. Everybody don't really know about twitch.tv, but this is very interactive learning right here, man. It is 11:50 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to go ahead and ride out, man. Got tomorrow work and the kiddos and all that other whatnot, man. Definitely stay up on your Ableton Live game. The push 2, like I said, man, is definitely worth the investment. It's $7.99. Yes, it's high. Yes, it's not a standalone, but look here. Look here. It makes your life easier in Ableton Live. Trust me. And it's just not a sampler type of machine. This motherfucker does, it gives you scales. You can play chords. You can do note repeats. You can change the inputs and outputs for your audio tracks. You can mix on here. You can control all your plugin parameters. You can add tracks, audio tracks, MIDI tracks, pull Ableton Live devices, add drum sounds to a drum rack. This thing is very, very deep, and it's a real good investment, man. If you got any questions about the push 2, you already know where you can reach me, man. This has been your boy Super Mario, man. We are gonna ride out. I'm gonna turn this beat up and let y'all check it out, man. Next Sunday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, man. We're gonna fuck with Serato sample, and we're gonna touch up a little bit on. We're gonna go do an overview on a Simpler and stuff like that, man. Like I said, y'all stay safe, man. Learn Ableton Live at its fullest, man. There's a lot of resources out there that can teach Ableton Live. Ableton Live is slept on, but once people learn it, they like, bro, that DAW is off the chain, and it is. This has been your boy Super Mario, man. You're tuned in to In the Yo with your boy, man. Super Mario, bro. We out of here.